Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today on this exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, where ordinary pocket change can sometimes turn into extraordinary treasures, and today's story focuses on one such coin, the 1984 D Lincoln 1 cent, a coin that has gained legendary status among collectors and enthusiasts because of its remarkable errors and mistakes, and it is rumored to have sold for as much as $21 million, an astronomical figure for what most people would consider just a common penny. But when we dive into the details of how and why this coin could be worth such a fortune, you will realize that sometimes the smallest details can make the biggest difference, and that is what makes numismatics so exciting and rewarding, because in the world of coins, rarity, condition, mint errors, and historical background all play critical roles in determining value, and the 1984 D penny is a prime example of how an everyday item, produced in the millions, can harbor hidden gems that captivate the attention of collectors worldwide. So let's begin with the basics. The 1984 D penny was minted at the Denver Mint, bearing the D mint mark, during a period when the United States Mint had transitioned from solid bronze composition pennies to copper-plated zinc coins starting in 1982, and by 1984, most pennies were struck on zinc planchets coated with copper, weighing 2.5 grams, but in some rare instances, errors occurred, and certain coins were mistakenly struck on older bronze planchets weighing 3.1 grams, which immediately made them stand out for collectors, because transitional errors are extremely rare and highly desirable, and a 1984 D penny struck on a bronze planchet is one of the many error possibilities that could elevate its value into the millions. But that's only one angle, because the story of the 1984 D penny doesn't stop there. One of the most famous and sought-after varieties from that year is the 1984 doubled die obverse, where the doubling appears most notably on Lincoln's ear, creating what is often called the extra ear penny. This doubling happened during the die creation process when the hub impressed the design onto the die multiple times but was slightly misaligned, causing features of the design to appear doubled on the struck coins, and when this doubling is strong and clear, it can dramatically increase the value of the coin, because collectors love major double die errors, and the 1984 double die obverse has long been one of the most popular varieties in the Lincoln cent series. Now imagine finding such an error on a Denver minted penny, possibly combined with other striking anomalies, and suddenly you have a piece of history so unique that it becomes priceless to those who understand its rarity. Another aspect that makes certain 1984 D pennies so valuable is their condition, because while millions were minted, most circulated heavily, and zinc cents are notorious for developing corrosion, bubbles, and other surface problems due to the copper plating separating from the zinc core, so finding a 1984 D penny in pristine condition with full red luster is already challenging. But when you add an error such as doubling, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, or planchet flaws, the coin's value skyrockets, because collectors are willing to pay top dollar for coins that combine rarity, error, and superb preservation. There are stories of coins that were struck off-center so dramatically that part of the design is missing, or struck multiple times creating overlapping images, and these mint mistakes, while rare, did happen occasionally, and when they occur on coins as heavily produced as the 1984 D penny, they become extremely noticeable and desirable. Another possibility is that some 1984 D pennies were struck with defective or clogged dies, leading to missing letters, weak strikes, or filled mint marks, which can make them stand out as unique varieties. And when authenticated and graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, these coins can fetch staggering sums at auction. Now let's step back and think about why such a coin could reach a value as high as $21 million. It isn't just the physical error itself, but the story, the rarity, and the desirability within the collector community that drives the price. In numismatics, when only a handful of examples exist and collectors with significant resources compete for ownership, prices can climb into millions, and the 1984 D penny represents the perfect storm of factors, combining historical significance, error rarity, and extreme demand, and the lore surrounding this coin only adds to its mystique, because some believe that a very small number of these coins escaped into circulation before being caught by mint inspectors, making them even more elusive, while others suggest that some were held back by employees and later discovered, further fueling speculation and intrigue. Collectors love coins with stories, and the 1984 D penny certainly has a story worth telling, with its combination of double die varieties, transitional planchet errors, off-center strikes, die cracks, and other potential mint mistakes all converging in a single year that produced some of the most fascinating pennies in U.S. history. And when you think about it, the idea that a simple penny could be worth more than a mansion, a luxury car collection, or even entire Businesses is mind-blowing, but that is the magic of rare coins, where the tiniest details make all the difference. For instance, a small doubling on Lincoln's ear that most people wouldn't notice can transform a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar treasure, and a slightly heavier planchet can turn a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. But what makes this all the more fascinating is that anyone could have one of these coins sitting in a jar of change at home, tucked away in a drawer, or hidden in an old collection passed down from a relative, and that possibility keeps collectors and enthusiasts constantly searching, examining every penny that passes through their hands, hoping to discover the next great rarity, because the thrill of the hunt is as exciting as the reward itself. And when news spreads of a coin like the 1984 D penny being valued at $21 million, it reignites that spark in collectors everywhere, motivating them to look closer, study harder, and never overlook even the most ordinary-looking coins. Now let's imagine the kinds of errors that could combine to create such a valuation. Perhaps a 1984 D penny that is both a double die obverse and struck on a bronze planchet, making it a double rarity, or perhaps one that shows dramatic off-center striking combined with clear doubling, or one that has unique die cracks forming patterns across the coin's surface, giving it a one-of-a-kind appearance. In the world of high-end collecting, uniqueness is everything, because when only one or two such coins exist, collectors will stop at nothing to acquire them, driving the price into the stratosphere, and that is why this coin has become legendary. Now if you think about the Denver Mint itself, in 1984 it was producing millions of coins daily, and with such high production rates, the chance of errors slipping through was higher than in smaller mintages, and although quality control was strong, perfection was nearly impossible when dealing with billions of coins annually, which is why error coins exist at all. And the 1984 D penny is one of the most dramatic reminders of how human and mechanical imperfections at the mint can create treasures for future generations. As we continue exploring the possibilities, consider the role of grading, because coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS 70 being a perfect, flawless coin, and error coins in high mint state grades are exponentially more valuable. So if a rare 1984 D doubled die obverse exists in near-perfect condition, it could command a price beyond imagination, because not only is it rare, but it is also preserved in the best possible state, and investors and collectors always seek the finest known examples. Another fascinating factor is provenance, meaning the history of ownership, because when a rare coin like this surfaces at a prestigious auction house, the story of its discovery and previous owners adds even more to its desirability, and wealthy collectors often want not only the coin itself but also the bragging rights of owning such a famous piece, which in turn drives the price even higher. And so the legend of the 1984 D penny worth $21 million becomes more than just a coin. It becomes a cultural icon, a symbol of how history, rarity, and human error can intersect to create something priceless. And as we think about all these factors, the transitional planchets, the doubled dies, the off-center strikes, the die cracks, the filled mint marks, the grading scale, the provenance, and the insatiable desire of collectors, it becomes clear why this coin is so captivating and why it continues to make headlines in the numismatic world. And the beauty of it all is that the 1984 D penny teaches us that no coin is too ordinary to overlook, because hidden among billions could be the one coin that changes your life forever. So next time you come across a penny from the 1980s, take a closer look, because history has shown us that incredible treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, and perhaps you too could uncover the next million-dollar rarity. And with that thrilling thought in mind, I encourage you to keep exploring, keep searching, and keep learning. Next, we dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the incredible stories behind them, because today's feature is all about the 2013 D Lincoln 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike, with reports of certain examples reaching values as high as $6 million due to their astonishing errors and rare mistakes. A coin that in everyday circulation seems like nothing more than a penny, often overlooked and tossed into jars, pockets, or change trays, but which under the right circumstances has proven to be worth a fortune. And in this script we will explore exactly what makes this 2013 D cent so valuable, what types of minting errors and unusual characteristics can transform a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar rarity, and the possibilities and mysteries that surround its production, condition, and desirability. So let us begin by recalling that the Lincoln cent has been one of the most iconic coins in United States history, first issued in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday and remaining in circulation for over a century with changes in design, composition, and minting technology. And by 2013 the familiar shield reverse design introduced in 2010 was firmly in place, struck at the Denver Mint with the D mint mark, billions of coins were made and released into circulation. Yet out of this massive production, a few remarkable examples slipped through with errors and anomalies that would make even seasoned collectors pause in disbelief. And this is where the story of the $6 million valuation begins, because rarity alone is not enough to drive such astronomical value. It must be combined with extraordinary error features, impeccable preservation, strong demand, and the allure of owning something virtually one of a kind. So let us imagine the possible mistakes that occurred in the minting process, starting with double dies, which happen when the hub used to create the coin's design imprints more than once in slightly misaligned positions on the die, producing dramatic doubling on inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date itself. And if a 2013 D penny were discovered with bold doubling on Lincoln's portrait or the shield reverse, it could instantly be classified as a major variety worth tens of thousands. But when tied to rarity, perfect condition, and collector buzz, the value could skyrocket into millions. And then there are off-center strikes, where the blank planchet is not properly seated in the press and part of the design is missing, sometimes leaving only a portion of Lincoln's face visible with a wide blank crescent of copper-coated zinc showing. And depending on the degree of off-centering, these errors can range from minor curiosities to spectacular rarities, especially if the date and mint mark remain fully visible. And if a 2013 D-cent combined a large off-center error with other mistakes, it could be catapulted into legendary status. Now consider broad strikes and clipped planchets, where the coin metal blank is improperly cut or stretched, producing bizarre shapes and edges, or double strikes where the coin is struck twice with slightly shifted orientations, making overlapping designs. And each of these errors adds layers of fascination for collectors who crave the unusual and the unexpected. But the 2013 D-cent story goes deeper, because the year 2013 saw issues with quality control at the mints due to the high volume of coins being produced and the switch to more zinc-based cores, which were prone to plating bubbles, surface blisters, and peeling. And while these may seem like minor defects, certain dramatic examples with massive plating errors can appear visually striking and extremely rare. Now imagine a 2013 D penny with multiple errors combined, a double die obverse, a dramatic off-center strike, perhaps struck on a transitional planchet, and preserved in pristine mint state condition. Such a coin would be so rare that it could easily ignite bidding wars among top collectors, driving its price into the multi-million-dollar range. And indeed it is this unique cocktail of mistakes and conditions that gives rise to the legend of the $6 million 2013 D-cent, because coins are valued not just for metal content but for rarity, history, error type, and demand. And when all of those align, the value can reach extraordinary heights. So let's explore further the types of errors that could exist on this coin, such as wrong planchet errors, where the coin is mistakenly struck on a foreign coin blank or a blank intended for another denomination like a dime or nickel, producing a penny that is smaller, lighter, or oddly colored. And such errors are extremely scarce, fetching enormous premiums. Or imagine a mule error, where the obverse of the 2013 D penny was mistakenly paired with the reverse of a different coin, an almost unthinkable error that would create one of the rarest coins in existence. And it is precisely this kind of once-in-a-lifetime mistake that explains how a coin nominally worth 1 cent can be appraised at $6 million. Now of course condition is crucial, because even the most spectacular error loses significant value if heavily worn, scratched, or corroded. So when collectors discover a rare 2013 D error cent preserved in high mint state condition, often graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, the coin instantly takes on legendary importance. And these grading services certify the authenticity and quality, assuring potential buyers that the coin is not altered or damaged. And in the modern era, collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts for unique certified rarities. And this brings us to the human fascination with owning the impossible, because part of the allure of coins like the 2013 D $6 million cent is not just the rarity of the object, but the idea that out of billions of ordinary pennies, one single coin slipped past the watchful eyes of the mint and into circulation, waiting for some lucky individual to find it in their pocket change or a roll from the bank, turning an ordinary day into an extraordinary discovery. And countless collectors still search through their pennies, dreaming of being that person, because the stories of hidden treasures are not myths but realities, as proven by famous coins like the 1943 copper cent or the 1955 double die penny, which have fetched tens or hundreds of thousands at auction. And so the legend of the 2013 D-cent is perfectly in line with these historic examples. And in analyzing the possibilities, we must also consider the influence of auctions, because once a unique coin reaches the open market and multiple wealthy collectors compete to own it, the price can soar far beyond traditional catalog valuations, leading to headlines of coins selling for millions. which in turn further fuels public interest and inspires more people to hunt through their change, making the 2013 D penny not just a coin but a cultural phenomenon. And this idea of cultural and financial excitement around errors and mistakes is what makes numismatics such a thrilling field, where the smallest details like a misplaced mint mark, a doubled inscription, or a striking misalignment can make a monumental difference in value. And the 2013 D penny sits right at the intersection of modern minting, high production numbers, and the occasional lapse that produces a one-of-a-kind error. And collectors around the world know that while most pennies are worth only a cent, the possibility of a life-changing discovery keeps the passion alive. And so as we look back at everything that makes the 2013 D penny so valuable, the errors ranging from double dies, off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, wrong planchets, mule errors, and dramatic plating defects, combined with immaculate condition, rarity, and collector demand, we can see how the ingredients blend together to create a coin that could be valued at $6 million, a staggering figure for a denomination so small, but a perfect symbol of how mistakes can become treasures, how chance can create fortune, and how history and rarity continue to shape our fascination with the coins we often take for granted. And as always, the message is clear: never underestimate the change in your pocket, because hidden among those common coins might be the next multimillion-dollar discovery waiting to be recognized, authenticated, and celebrated. And that is the captivating story of the 2013 D Lincoln 1 cent worth $6 million because of its extraordinary errors and mistakes. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the mysteries and possibilities of rare coins, make sure to stay connected with us, keep exploring the world of numismatics, and join us again for more incredible stories of how ordinary money can become legendary treasures. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another fascinating journey into the hidden value of coins. Today we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins and numismatics, a story that might surprise you because it is centered around a coin most people pass by every day without a second thought, the 1985 quarter dollar, which due to its unique set of errors, mistakes, and minting anomalies, has been valued at an incredible $6 million. And as we take this journey together, you'll see why such a seemingly ordinary coin could carry such extraordinary value. Because the world of coins is full of secrets, surprises, and treasures hidden in plain sight, and the 1985 quarter is one of the finest examples of how tiny imperfections can transform common change into a life-changing fortune. So let's set the stage by remembering that the 1985 quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, where millions upon millions of quarters were produced that year as part of regular circulation, and yet among those countless coins, a small fraction emerged carrying unusual defects that collectors decades later would recognize as remarkable. But to understand why this coin can sell for millions, we need to explore the errors that make it so valuable, starting with the double die obverse, which is one of the most famous minting errors. And in the case of the 1985 quarter, certain examples show doubling in key areas such as the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," and even the date itself. And when a double die occurs, it's due to a mistake during the hubbing process, when the design is pressed into the die more than once but not in perfect alignment, and this results in a coin with ghost-like duplicate images or shifted letters that collectors crave. And on a 1985 quarter, such doubling is not only visible but dramatic, making it stand out compared to more subtle examples on other coins. And because the rarity of this doubling is so significant, collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums. But that's just one of the mistakes that make this coin worth millions, because another error found in some 1985 quarters involves off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly aligned with the dies during striking, leading to portions of the design being missing or shifted to one side. And the more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if it leaves visible blank space while still showing the date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin becomes. And examples of 1985 quarters with dramatic off-center errors have already sold for thousands. But when combined with other unique anomalies such as die cracks, cuds, or planchet flaws, their value can skyrocket. And in the rarest cases where multiple errors occur on the same coin, the result is a one-of-a-kind piece that can fetch millions. Now, another remarkable error tied to the 1985 quarter is the struck-through error, where a foreign object such as a piece of cloth, grease, or even metal shavings became lodged between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving behind a distinct impression or mark on the coin. And these struck-through coins are often highly collectible, with each one being unique depending on the material and placement. And collectors value the individuality of these mistakes because no two struck-through errors are exactly the same. And on a 1985 quarter, such mistakes become even more significant due to the year's overall minting conditions. And when you add in die breaks and cuds, which occur when part of the die itself cracks or breaks off, leaving raised blobs or missing areas on the coin's surface, the collectability increases further, and these dramatic die breaks are prized because they create bold, unusual features on the coin that were never meant to exist, and some 1985p quarters display large cuds around the rim or across the lettering, making them especially valuable. But another error that makes this coin fascinating is the misaligned die strike, where the obverse and reverse of the coin don't perfectly match up, creating a shifted or rotated design, and in some 1985p quarters, the misalignment is so severe that it transforms an ordinary coin into a numismatic marvel, and rotation errors where the reverse is turned significantly compared to the obverse are another highly collectible variety, with dramatic rotations sometimes pushing values into six-figure territory, but in the most extreme and rare cases combining with other anomalies, the value can climb into the millions, and that's why the $6 million valuation is tied to a coin that doesn't just feature one simple mistake, but rather a perfect storm of errors, with doubling, off-centering, die cracks, and struck-through flaws all present on a single quarter, effectively making it one of a kind, and collectors are always willing to pay whatever it takes for a unique treasure like that. But beyond just the physical errors, the 1985p quarter carries value because of historical context too, as the 1980s were a period when the Philadelphia Mint was producing coins at massive volume, often resulting in quality control issues that slipped past inspection, and because errors were not always carefully screened, a few spectacular mistakes entered circulation, and decades later these become rarities. But what makes them so appealing is that they could have been sitting in a cash register, a coin jar, or someone's pocket for years before being recognized, meaning anyone could have stumbled upon a life-changing coin without realizing it, and that possibility makes searching for 1985p quarters thrilling, as collectors and treasure hunters alike dream of discovering one of the multi-million-dollar era coins. Now imagine pulling out a quarter to buy a soda or to use at a vending machine and realizing later that it's worth $6 million. That's the kind of story that captures people's imagination, and it's why coin collecting isn't just a hobby but a true treasure hunt, and even beyond. The most famous $6 million example, ordinary era 1985p quarters, can still be worth hundreds or thousands depending on their condition and the type of mistake they display, and as time goes on, the pool of surviving era coins only gets smaller, because many have been lost, damaged, or overlooked, meaning the rarity increases and the value continues to climb. And for collectors who want to invest in a tangible piece of history, a 1985p quarter with a significant error is a golden opportunity, and stories circulate in the coin community about garage sales, flea markets, or old coin rolls from banks where such rarities have been discovered, fueling the excitement further. And when we break down the value, what truly drives it is a mix of rarity, demand, and uniqueness, with rarity coming from the fact that very few examples of major errors survive, demand being the strong interest from collectors willing to pay top dollar, and uniqueness referring to the fact that no two era coins are exactly alike, especially when multiple anomalies are involved, and when all three factors align, the price can reach astronomical levels like $6 million, and the 1985p quarter is the perfect storm of all those elements, representing not just a coin but a piece of minting history that escaped into the world carrying its mistakes like a badge of honor, mistakes that transformed it from pocket change into a treasure, and that's why the coin continues to inspire collectors to search their change, to study the details of their coins, and to dream about finding the next big discovery, because in the world of numismatics anything is possible. And with that, we've taken a deep journey into the fascinating story of the 1985p quarter-dollar coin, a story of errors, accidents, and possibilities that turned a simple piece of change into a $6 million marvel. So if you enjoyed this journey and want to hear more incredible stories about coins worth big money hiding in plain sight, make sure to stay connected with us for more amazing content, because the world of coins is full of surprises and your next coin find could be worth a fortune. So keep looking, keep collecting, and keep the dream alive. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss the next incredible story.